abortion. So how much should science come into play if a woman decides to have the child? And by science, they're saying, well, was the baby viable outside the womb when it was killed? I don't think that is necessarily the criteria that should be used. To me, once again, it's when the woman chooses to have the baby and carry it to life is when the protection should kick in.
Mm-hmm. I agree. We've had a lot of contentious bills this month, haven't we?
Yes, and I kind of, being my first time going into the second year, I can see why some of the bills that we've got coming up now have been retained, because they're pretty contentious. And each side has some good arguments.
Right. You know, the marijuana debate lasted 3 hours, and I listened to every word. And that was a hard bill. To me, it was a hard bill because my email box was bombarded with people who used Merrimack addresses. I don't know if they're, well, now I don't know. Now I'm wondering, were they really from Merrimack? My email box was bombarded, and one other rep from Merrimack. We got all, please vote yes, please vote yes. And most of them are form letters, and I'm like, I don't know who these people are. So then we talked to some of the other reps from Merrimack, and Dick Hinch said the emails that he got were 4-1, vote no. And the other rep and I, we didn't get those emails. Like, I got one. So he said, well, you need to think about who your voting base is. The people that voted for you, how would they want you to vote? I went, well, except for that one guy, they want me to vote no. Okay, can't we just table this bill so I don't have to vote at all? So I voted. There was I don't know how many motions, and I was really shocked that at first it failed by only 2 votes.
Correct, yes.
And then there was more debate, and then that last vote was a surprise.
Yeah, I voted to continue the debate because, like you, I wanted to hear all sides of it. I got a little mix of both emails for not to. Most of the pro emails I had was from a very young generation. Most of the ones that wanted to kill the bill was from older generation, or from, I hate to say it, our age.
Yeah, I know. Well, the kids think we're old, so.
And so it was hard, and I really thought there was a lot of good arguments on both sides.
They did a very good job, the other side, presenting their case.
Yes.
They convinced a lot of people to vote with them, but I'm like, no. Even when it was a division vote, and I could have voted for pot, yeah. And the guy next to me wanted me to. He's older than I am, and I just couldn't do it. I tried. I just pressed that button and quickly pressed no.
And I think the deciding factor was, I know the whole intoxicated driver thing. There was some hints that was a possibility in my daughter's accident, so that kind of struck home. And there isn't a good test to tell whether a driver is impaired by THC or not. So that was a leaning factor for me. And then to grow your own 6 plants was just a stretch too far for me. And I had to vote no, because I don't see how the state can regulate it if you got everyone growing their own 6 plants.
Well, I was posting on Facebook, as the debate was happening, what was going on. Every chance I had, I'd update what's going on. Kind of like Twitter. I use it like Twitter. I use Facebook like Twitter because I don't like Twitter. And somebody had asked, so it's legal? I mean, no, don't light up. Don't light up. It's going to go to another committee. We vote on it again. Then if it passes the House a second time, it will go to the Senate. If it passes the Senate, which we don't know right now if it will, it goes to the governor, and she said she's voting no. So I don't think we're going to have legalized pot in New Hampshire.
I don't believe so anytime soon, and I think it is a worthy debate to have on whether it should be legal or not. But we do have to iron out the issues of testing people
right,
for
and how are they going to enforce it, right?
And to enforce it for the, like I said, the growing 6 plants to your own, and it wasn't clear, is it every adult can grow 6 plants, or is it only a household that could grow 6 plants? And I also did some reading from Washington State, where their black market is actually flourishing, even though they've legalized it.
Really? Well, interesting, because they can get it for less.
They can get it for less. It's less on the black market than it is to go to the legal. So we have some more issues that we have to iron out. It is a debate worth having, and hopefully it'll continue next year, but hopefully some of the other questions that people have will be answered.
And then another contentions bill is the GMO bill, which is for labeling, okay? Labeling. But I have a list here of what's in a vaccine, and one of the ingredients in a vaccine is genetically modified yeast, animal, bacterial, and viral DNA that can be incorporated into the recipient's DNA and cause unknown genetic mutations. Vaccines also contain ammonium sulfate, beta is something that I can't pronounce, latex rubber, monosodium glutamate, or how do you say that one, aluminum, formaldehyde, microorganisms, and a whole other list of things that I can't pronounce. And then this is interesting, human and animal cells. These are disgusting, vile ingredients in a vaccine that the same people that want labeling of GMOs are not concerned about what's in the vaccine. And the last I heard, human cells, Soylent Green is people. Why would you want that shot into your body? So just a question that I have. I'm not going to bring it up on the House floor because I know it's just not going to be received well. But I'll be glad when that bill is done.
That is another hard bill because obviously we have labels for ingredients on everything. And I think people should know.
Organic food is labeled. The mints in my purse are labeled non-GMO. I look for non-GMO. Anything that has soy gets put right back on the shelf because I think soy is vile and disgusting. It's female plant hormones. If the studies that I read are true, then all soy is already GMO. Soy has been contaminated, and corn.
Well, corn's a big one, I know, and that is one of the issues that has been brought up to me is a lot of plants and stuff, because they can't control cross-pollination, already have GMO products in them. Most of the corn does, even if they're not supposed to. And there is some concern on where the labeling takes place. Obviously, New Hampshire by itself can't have GMO labeling because none of your manufacturers are going to want to sell food if they get a label for just one state. We're not a big enough market.
Right.
So we have that issue where it's going to have to be a compact of states to enact this. And forcing the labeling for GMOs, as one person, and I've seen several times, is if it doesn't say non-GMO foods on the label, consider it
just
GMO.
Assume, that's what I do. I just assume if it's, because usually products that have, don't have it, they want you to know, buy my product. We don't have GMOs.
Yeah, and that's a voluntary labeling thing. And if the market's there for that type of labeling, you'd think those products will be taking off. So more and more people will be labeling their product non-GMO if they're non-GMO. And maybe it'll drive the GMOs out of the market as much as it can. So, and I think there's some confusion on exactly what a lot of the GMO stuff is. You talk on GMO on animals.
Oh, we should probably say what it means.
Stuff,
genetically modified organisms,
right.
genetically engineered. So I like when we lived in California, the University of California at Riverside had a big area of fruit trees, all kinds of different crops, and there was a big fence around it with signs, warning signs, because they were genetically engineering food, and they didn't know if it was safe, so stay out of it.
Yeah. But and a lot of the food is genetically engineered. I mean, one of the reasons why we've been able to conquer a lot of world hunger is because they've genetically modified crops, so they're resistant to different.
I think it's going to be another 3-hour debate.
Yeah, probably, if not more.
Yeah, well, we just haven't gotten very far. It's been a while since I brought a house calendar with me on the show to show the viewers, okay, this is what we get. And 2 weeks ago, it was thicker, and they broke it up. This is all the retained. We haven't even started 2014 yet. We're still on the bills from last year that were retained. So we get our notices and what time the caucuses are, and then we have our calendar, and some people have, like a separate notebook. They'll write down all their notes, and I write right in here. So like here's one. I'm voting no on HB1503. I'm not wearing my glasses. So I've got how I'm going to vote, and then as we take the votes, I write down roll call and what the vote was, and then further on we have. The committee hearing. So, here's one. I've got 2.5 minutes left. I stopped into education today, the education committee, and I sent an email to everybody on the committee. Please vote no on House Bill 1180. There's a couple of Democrats that want to extend the school year by 2 weeks. as it stands, by the time we get all the 180 days in and make up the snow days, the kids get out of school. Next week is the 4th of July.
Yeah. Actually, I signed in underneath you
Oh,
in
thank
opposition to it,
Thank
too.
you. And I
Yeah.
talked to one of the sponsors, and he was actually very nice. He said, now, please don't hate me. I went, I don't hate you. And he said he doesn't expect this bill to pass, but he wants a conversation started that the kids need to learn more in school.
I got to tell you, and I understand they want kids to learn more in school.
Then why are they enacting
But
Common Core? I
they,
don't even have time to go into that.
Well, the one thing they need to look at is what kids learn in first grade now compared to what they did when I was in first grade.
Oh, in Little House on the Prairie, those first graders, they were stacking numbers and adding them all up.
My oldest daughter, Jennifer, is a first grade teacher, and she said, oh, yeah, we're teaching this. And I was like, we're learning how to make letters in first grade. They expect them to know how to basically read when they get to first grade and do the...
Well,
So, I
they're
mean,
having
that's-
problems in some states where they've enacted Common Core because it's set up for failure in a lot of ways, and I don't have time in 1 minute to go into it. I need to do another show.
Yeah, Common Core is definitely another controversial subject.
It's bad. It's bad.
Daughter's school, and our school district, has actually come up with a hybrid of some of the things they pulled from Common Core, some of them they pulled for what was there. So they're not using Common Core, but if they think it's something that they can use to their betterment, they're using it. So they're working it.
I'm going to get Jane Cormier to come back and talk to me about that.
Yeah.
She's a representative from where I ran the half marathon that 1 year, Alton.
Alton, okay, yeah.
It was raining. It was terrible. We haven't done that race again. Well, we're out of time.
Okay.
But thank you. So
Well, I
the
thank you.
sponsor of Griffinslaw, House Bill,
1503.
and I hope it passes.
I hope it does too, and everyone can contact their representatives and state senators and let them know they should support it.
Thank you. And thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.